Hey y'all, welcome back. I don't want to waste any time in this intro. I just want to jump right into talking about the most popular mysteries and thrillers from the past 5 years according to a Goodreads article that I found a few days ago. I have a feeling this is about to get chaotic. So on April 6th of this year, just a few days ago, someone named Cybil posted this article on Goodreads outlining the 40 most popular mysteries and thrillers from the past 5 years. And then within the article, she explains that by most popular, she actually just means the most reviewed. When I first thought popular, I thought like the most adored. Maybe there was some sort of algorithm, most reviewed combined with the highest star ratings. But no, these are just the 40 most reviewed mysteries and thrillers from the past 5 years. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And I'll go ahead and mention too, I just counted and I think that I've read 19 out of 40 of these. I'm going to put the graphics down here so it'll be easy to keep up with what I'm talking about. And yeah, let's start with number 1, which is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This was one of my favorite books that I read last year. I think it's really interesting that the top 2 are The Woman in the Window and The Woman in Cabin 10, since both deal with pretty much the same trope of just having this unreliable female narrator slash witness who maybe can't be trusted but maybe can be trusted. We don't know as readers, and we're going along with them. They don't even know if they can trust themselves with what they've seen. I'm purposefully being a little vague here because I don't want to give anything away. If you've not read these books, this will contain no spoilers, but it is interesting that those are the top 2. You'll notice that I gave The Woman in the Window 5 stars. The Woman in Cabin 10 received 2 stars from me. If you read this book and loved it and really enjoyed it, I am happy for you. It was just not for me. I do have a little bit of trouble with Ruth Ware's writing style, as you'll see throughout the rest of this video as more of her books come up. I don't know, just something about her writing doesn't click with me as a reader, but I know a lot of people do love her and I have a lot of respect for that. Next, The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina. I did give this 3 stars, which thinking back in my head, I feel like 3 stars is still a positive review from me, and I just can't remember that much about this book other than the basic plot. Like the characters' names aren't really coming back. I did read this book a little while ago, but yeah, I'm just not remembering that much from it. Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris is a little bit the same way for me. Like I remember these plots, and both of these are very quick reads. Like I remember getting to these very quickly and they were page turning, and I can see where they would be popular books from the past 5 years. But at the same time, when something's not character driven, I have a hard time feeling attached once I finished the book. So I don't know, the first 2, even though I wasn't a huge fan of The Woman in Cabin 10, I can see where that made it into the top. But these next 2, I don't know, that's really interesting that those made it into the top 4. Moving on to books 5 through 8. First, The Silent Patient by Alex McLades. I loved this book, and looking at this 4-star rating, what was I thinking? Like, I think I need to go back and amend my rating because this book has stuck with me and I can't imagine it being anything other than 5 stars. What was I thinking? Actually, it's starting to come back to me a little bit. When this first came out, I feel like everyone was reading it and loving it and saying what a huge twist this was going to be, and so I went into it thinking this is going to be the best book I have ever read in my entire life. And so when I finished it, I think that because it didn't live up to my expectations, which honestly I don't know what could, then maybe I gave it 4 stars. I don't know. I might reread it in the future and then go back and change the rating there because it was phenomenal. And I'm happy that it's in the top 5 here, especially since it was just published last year. Like, it's already one of the most reviewed from the last 5 years and it just came out last year. That's pretty impressive. Next is Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, which I've also read. I was a bigger fan of The Girl on the Train, which is also by this author. And The Girl on the Train, just side note, has that same unreliable female narrator trope, and I do like that trope. This one was a little tougher for me to get into just because of how many different perspectives are included in this book. Pretty good and original and creepy plot, but it's just another one where the characters didn't really stick with me. Next is Origin by Dan Brown. I obviously have not read that. It is marked as unread on my Goodreads shelf. I did read Angels and Demons earlier this year by the same author. This is book 5 from that series, and I've not even gotten to book 2 yet. I'm not sure if I'll continue, but who knows, maybe. Okay, this next one is really interesting and I'm excited to talk about it. The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pickenen. It was good. I liked this book. This was another one where I saw so many positive reviews to where when I finally got to the book, it let me down a little bit. I liked the plot. I will say I did like these characters, but there were a few different little problematic aspects that didn't sit well with me. I think that this was more of a 3.5 like star, leaning towards that 4-star rating. The writing style made it really easy to get into the story and to like the characters, but sometimes I like a little bit more sophistication in the writing. 9 through 12, we have The Outsider by Stephen King, which I have not read. I've read a few Stephen King books, but this one I think is chunky and I'm not ready for it yet. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I read Watching You last year. Wasn't a huge fan, but it was okay in my opinion. And then I'm also currently reading The Family Upstairs, which is going pretty well. So I might pick up Then She Was Gone at some point if I do end up enjoying The Family Upstairs. I don't even know what The Dry by Jane Harper is. I've never heard of it. But obviously it made it onto this list, so it has been reviewed quite frequently. I have read All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. What really pulled me in about this storyline is that we see how the book is going to end at the beginning, and then the twist comes with how the book starts, how the story begins, what sends all of the action into action. Okay, I need to calm it down. Overall, I know I sound like a broken record, but it was another one where the concept was wonderful, the plot was pretty fast, I read it in a few days, but the characters have not stuck with me. Okay, about to go through a quick rough patch here. I've not read any of 13 through 16. So we have The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson, which that cover just looks bleak and morbid, and I'm in. I don't even know what it's about, but I'm in. The Girl Before by J.P. Delaney. Never heard of that one. I have heard of I'm Watching You by Teresa Driscoll, but I'm not sure what it's about. And then Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. If anyone has read any of these and you recommend them or you don't recommend them, let me know, because they look interesting and I'm sure I've looked into them in the past and I'm just can't recall exactly what they're about, but I'm down to read them. Ooh, okay. So moving on to books 17 through 20, we have Stillhouse Lake by Rachel Kane. I love this series. I have read books 1 through 3, and she has also published book 4. I just don't have my hands on a copy yet, but I look forward to getting to that soon. I really, really like this series. Next is Lethal White by Robert Galbraith, which I have not heard of. The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. This was another one that for me was just phenomenal. I gave it 5 stars. It is graphic, it is disturbing, it is a little bit slower than, I can't believe I just described it as like, it's graphic, it's disturbing, it's boring. It's not boring. It's just more of a legal courtroom thriller than I was expecting, but I loved that aspect of the book. And then number 20 is The Last Mrs. Parrish by Liv Constantine, and I have this on hold at my library in like the ebook form. So I'm looking forward to that one too. Okay, we're getting into some more Ruth Ware books. So this is really interesting to me that The Lying Game and The Death of Mrs. Westaway are at 21 and 22 on this list when The Woman in Cabin 10 was so high up at number 2. I guess The Woman in Cabin 10 came out before those two. I think I'm saying that correctly. But out of those 3, I would have to say I liked The Lying Game the best. I think that might be an unpopular opinion, but I really do like In a Dark, Dark Wood better than all of the others. The only Ruth Ware book that I've not gotten to yet is The Turn of the Key, which I've heard is a lot of people's very favorite, so maybe I'll get to that later this year. Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman I'm interested in, but I have not picked it up yet. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I read this last year and I struggled rating it because something in me feels like this is a masterpiece that was just too much for my infantile brain to understand and to comprehend. There were so many characters, and this is a convoluted plot. People are switching bodies. There is a game. There is a non-linear timeline. There is a twist. You don't know what's going on, and that's kind of the point. I hope it's the point, because if not, I just feel really inadequate as a reader. Next is number 25, that is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oinkon Brothwaite. You can see I gave this one 3 stars, but I do think back on this one very fondly. This is a very, very short, quirky book. Even though it is kind of morbid and centers around death, as the title suggests, It was a fun read. It was quirky, it was funny. I loved the relationship between these two sisters, even though it was really, really complicated. I do recommend this one if you like offbeat, witty books. The Widow by Fiona Barton, another one that I have not gotten to yet. I have not heard of this book actually, so again, if you liked it, comment down below, let me know. This next one is probably my most unpopular opinion that I have to date. It's Verity by Colleen Hoover, which I just shouldn't have read because I should have known it wasn't gonna be for me, but for some reason I went for it anyway. I gave it 2 stars. I could see why people would like this book. I really like adult romance books and I really like mystery thriller books, and for some reason I cannot mesh with a romantic thriller, so that's on me. Number 28, The President is Missing by Bill Clinton and James Patterson. What? Didn't know this existed, but I'm glad that I know now. Okay, let's knock these next ones out really quickly too, because I've not read these either. An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pickenen. I was just talking about being excited about reading this one in the future. Say You're Sorry by Melinda Lee. Not sure about this one. Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. I feel like I have heard that that one is like a really good psychological thriller. And then Fool Me Once by Harlan Coben. I feel like I see Harlan Coben's name everywhere, and I've never read a single one of his books. Maybe this is the one I should pick up if it is the most popular from the past 5 years. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to expose myself. Numbers 33 through 36. We have The Breakdown by B.A. Paris. This is the same author as Behind Closed Doors, which was fine for me, so I wouldn't be surprised if I got to it in the near future. We have What She Knew by Gilly Macmillan. Have not heard of this one either. Number 35 is Behind Her Eyes by Saren Penborough. I have heard of this one, but I cannot recall what it is about, but I feel like I've seen this one everywhere recently. And then The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I know I'm gonna read it at some point in the future, but haven't yet. And then lastly, we have numbers 37 through 40. The Last Mile by David Baldacci, which I've not read. The Perfect Nanny by Layla Silmani. That looks interesting, I like that cover. And then A Stranger in the House by Sherry LaPena. This is the same author as The Couple Next Door. I did not like this one as much as The Couple Next Door. The writing style was a little too simplistic for my taste, and I just really didn't feel that invested in the plot. And if I'm not going to feel that invested in the characters, then I at least do want to feel like there is a fast plot that I am just so into. I will say at the beginning I was so hooked because we start off with another one of my favorite tropes, which is memory loss. And I had such high hopes after the first few chapters. I think I did enjoy like the first 30 pages. And then from there, it just slowly went downhill. It did pick back up for the last little chapter epilogue, but I can definitely see why it's on the lower end of this list. And then right along with Final Girls, I might go back and give this one 4 stars. I'm gonna have like a big reread session at some point because I don't really feel comfortable going back and adjusting my ratings before I reread something, because obviously something about my initial read made me give these the ratings that I did give them. I think something happened at the end with the writing style that just kind of made me cringe a little bit. Like it was a little cliche at the ending, but I liked the book. It has stuck with, like, I still remember all of the characters, and that's pretty big for me. But yeah, I can definitely see why those two were 39 and 40. Shout out and big thanks to Cybil who compiled that list for us there. If you've read a mystery or a thriller within the past 5 years that you think deserves more attention, or it just didn't get the attention and the hype that you think it deserves, let me know about it. I'm really interested in this topic now, especially going back to like initially thinking about how, ooh, the most popular books, this must mean everyone liked these. But actually it was just the most reviewed book. So what is popularity? I'm going to end the video on that note. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope everyone is staying safe and as happy as you can be. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.